And um, so we got that going, and we probably going to have a representative in Vietnam, a lady I met recently. Her name is One. Okay, and so we'll have four countries here. So, um, uh, so let's see. Um, by the way, this is going to be regular now, generally speaking, the second Saturday or Sunday of the month. So you can put it on your calendar or tell your friends about that later. Um, some of you have been on this before, so you know sort of know the format of it. But basically, it's a lot of stuff that I've discovered, learned, sharing, doing that I think can make a difference, not only in your uh, health, and vitality, no matter how long you live, but also we're going to talk about the possibility of what I call being a centurist, and this is a term that I coined. The idea of a centurist is someone who thinks there is some chance to live happily and vitally to 1 century and then even 2 centuries. Not an absolute chance, but a chance. And I'm going to share the reasons why today that's actually possible in a way that it was never possible before for a lot of us. Hello, Bud. Okay, and
Hey,
hello, Ann. uh, so, and also any of you, of course, I'm in contact with all of you. So there may be some points I make, that you'd like fuller explanation on. If there are, just we may not have time to go into it during this, hour, but you contact me later. Don't worry. I take care of myself. You just use me for anything more that you'd like to know. Uh, So I'm going to share first my vision of being a centurist, okay? And I put this to music using an incredible AI app called Sooner.com, and I created the lyrics for it. So I'm going to share that. Um, Hopefully the sound and everything shares good here. Um, and go over to, uh, let's see, go to here and then go to, okay, here we are. And
At the crossroads of time, where dreams do abide, I stand with a heart that's so open wide. My journey thus far, a tapestry rich in growing and learning. It's never a bitch, it's just the beginning. And oh, what a start! A path vibrant and bright. It's my work of art. As the centurist I am, I embrace every day in pursuit of longevity. I'm well on my way. With each passing year, more vitality new. There's youth in my step, in each morning dew. With wisdom acquired and science at hand, I carve out my future uncommonly grand. Approaching a century, not an end but a start. Just a milestone ahead on the path of my heart. I'm always just starting in future's sweet dance, in loving my living, I'm taking my stand. youthful glee, a 3-year-old spirit. Yes, that is my key in this journey of life. I am but a child, exploring and learning. Eternally
Ta-da! Okay. And so let's talk a little bit about, is this even possible? It's like people say, I mean, yeah, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees any of us are going to live past tomorrow, right? Okay. But most of us, most of our life, we've made a certain basic assumption that other things being equal, we're going to live to 80 or 90 or whatever. Well, that can possibly change. Okay. And one reason it can change is billions and billions and billions of dollars are being put into the reversing one single disease, the disease of aging. Aging is a disease that makes most other diseases like heart disease and cancer and all that much more likely or possible. Okay, like I think something rough statistic, if you're 20, compared to your chance of getting cancer at 25, at 65 is 50 times more than your chance of getting cancer at 25. Okay, that's just because of the environment of aging. So if you can slow down, stop, even reverse aging, then hey, it doesn't guarantee anything absolutely, but but all those the chances then become, it really makes sense. Oh my God, it's possible. I could count my birthdays in terms of not just 1 century, but 2 centuries, 3 centuries or more, right? Okay. Uh, and but can it really happen? Uh, there's something called the LEV, or longevity escape velocity. The people who are involved with the idea of actually stopping and maybe even reversing aging talk about this it's called, and what the idea is, you know, if you go back to the 1990s or before, the average lifespan back there was about 40, and and what we mainly did is we knocked out most of the childhood diseases, and that mostly pushed up the age. But then now we're dying of these chronic stuff instead of acute stuff. And so the next step is the actual possibility of the reversing the aging. And so, but in general, though, science and technology so far, maybe you could say roughly every year that passes, maybe 1 or 2 months are added to the general lifespan of people on Earth, healthy lifespan. But that is increasing. So, especially with the AI coming in and all sorts of other things coming in, it's accelerating exponentially, so that at some point in the future, this is what we don't know about how far away this is. There's become a year where the advances in 1 year add 1 year, okay, and after that even more, okay. But so if any one of us can be alive, fairly healthy when that year comes, whenever it is, then hey. We still need to take care of ourselves, okay? But then it makes a lot of sense, because then they're able to get to the point of reversing aging, not just stopping it, but reversing it, okay? And so some people, the most optimistic people, predict the LEV will arrive by 2030. Just 5 years from now. That's the most optimistic. Ray Kurzweil is the most optimistic of all the people who talk about this possibility. Others, are not so sure. It could be 10 years out, 15 years out, even more, We don't know. when that, if you will, that when that I call it the LAV train, when it's going to arrive, and we can possibly get on it if we're still available then to get on it. So so that's why it makes it's like it's not just like a fantasy, about that people thought or this is grounded in science and just the fact that short of total world collapse, okay, which that in the history things have just gotten in general better and better and better, okay, and more and more, 1960, the world population, 60, the world population was about 3 billion people. And over 50% of the people in the world were on the edge of starvation then. Today, we got 8 billion plus, and less than 10% on the edge of starvation. That's a type of progress that just continues and continues and continues, okay, in general. So that's one reason I say this is possible. And so if you want to look at this for yourself, even what I have to say today would apply to just having, I don't know whether I could, no matter what, I'm in for 81, pretty much of the people I personally know about, I'm the healthiest person I know about, okay? And so, but I could still, I might not make it 5 more years, but working on this stuff, whatever I'm going to do today, because there's a lot we already know that if we just do it today, we have a much better chance of getting to that point where we can catch the LEV train. Okay. But for the younger of you, probably you don't have to worry so much about this. But for me, Dorothy, Paula, maybe Frank, for
Yeah.
Bud, for Bell. I mean, we're in the category where there's a likelihood of us kicking the bucket is more than Red and Henry, some others down there,
Yep.
Oh, and Ginger, yes. But regardless of that, regardless of whether we become a centurist, so to speak, just the stuff that I'm going to share with you today will make all the difference in the quality of your life while we are alive. Okay, so it's relevant to you regardless of whether you're going to go for that. Okay, and the other thing is, you might say, well, I don't think there's much chance, and there may not be much chance, but ask yourself this question. If you were willing to go for it, and if you were willing to do as much as you could or were willing to do in terms of keeping yourself as healthy as you can until then, can you actually say that there's no chance, like it's 100% chance that you're going to die before the LAV arrives? I mean, if you can say that, okay, fine. That's your assessment. But I doubt that maybe even Dorothy, I don't think, can say that for sure. That if she keeps herself, in pretty good shape, that there's a absolute 100% chance that she can't make it. Okay, and I don't know. You'd have to make your own assessment there, Dorothy. Okay, and Dorothy's, up there above the rest of us at 99. Since you mean 94. But boy, she's still learning, and she's got. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I've been talking with her a while. She's just an amazing lady. But of course, the question is: there's the what, and there's the how, and there's the why. And let's look at the why first. Hey, if you're not enjoying life, who wants to live? I mean, maybe a lot of people are just waiting, till they die. Okay, so I've asked people how long would you like to live, and some of them say, well, 85, whatever. Say, well, let's imagine that somehow at 85 you were as young, you looked as young as you do now, you have the energy you do now, and you were really happy as you are now. Would you then say, okay, I'm 85, time to go? I don't think. Maybe you may say, but maybe one more year, right? Maybe one more year. Okay? So
Yeah.
this whole idea that you want to live, you don't want to live past a certain age is based upon the idea of what it's been like to live past that. My grandmother was 8 years bedridden for the last 8 years of her life. Virtually no. Um, I mean, my mother loved her to death, and she said it would have been better for her if she died 8 years earlier. And by the way, just so I've got my backup plan. I've got some phenobarbital. I'm not, I'm intending not to have to use that. But if I get to a point where, okay, I don't see any prospect of that, then I'm going to be out of here. But but I already think there's a chance to count our birthdays in terms of centuries. So that's the what. But the how, okay, there's how. Okay, how do you eat? And I'm sorry, the what? Let's skip over the what. Like, what do you do in order to do that? What do you take advantage of in terms of like how you eat and everything else? Like that's the what. To stay in the best health, the best vitality, even the best energy, and to have that be a possibility. And then there's next is the how, because we can know all these things. Oh, yes, I sort of know how to eat, but who wants to eat that way? You
Uh,
know, you know. It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the joke by Woody Allen. He said, "Well, yeah, I know how I could probably eat to live to 100, but who'd want to live to 100 if you had to eat that way?" You know, there, there's real truth to that. But I'm saying it's possible if you so as a lot of you know me well, I focus on enjoying the journey. Finding like if you're going to set a goal, if you're going to say, I want to go from here, the first thing you do is you don't just set the goal and expect yourself to be able to take the steps, that you're not probably not want to take when it gets time to take it, like to eat this way or, that. But if to set down how when the time comes to eat that way or do it this way, how can you enjoy the process of that? How's that going to be really okay for you to enjoy the journey of it? Because if you're not enjoying the journey of doing this, I mean that's the purpose of life fundamentally to enjoy to be happy, right? And it's going to be very difficult to do anything consistently unless you find ways to enjoy it. And we're going to be talking about some of that today. So before I continue, any quick comments or questions or feedback on this? And if your audio is off, then turn your audio on to make that.
Yeah, I put something in the comments. Just basically, for years, I've taken the viewpoint that there are health technologies being developed right now that we don't know about, and some that have already come out that we don't know about, that have the potential to transform our health dramatically. And so, like I wrote, I keep my eyes open for those things.
You make a good point. There some things maybe we even already know that even without that, but there's also all that stuff out there. If we started looking, I mean, with the internet and everything now, it's amazing what's out there, and that really could make that difference. Of course, we have to vet it. We have to be careful because there's a lot of claims and stuff like that. It's because if you listen to testimonials, you go in all sorts of different directions. You get some sort of solid data about stuff. Thank you, Bill. Any other comments or questions? Okay, let's continue. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to share my view. It's for so many friends around me, even at my age, they don't want live longer, for they have seen so much sufferings in their lives, just as what I did before. But now I really want to live as long as you do, because someone set the example for me. I finally know it's a way. There's some possibility that I really can get there.
Okay.
So
Thank
this is
you.
really fun to explore what could happen before in front of me. So I think what drives me forward, uh, on one hand, it is curiosity about being a centurist, and on the other hand, is because we now have the technology to support us to reach for that age, and just now you said the age is a disease. Yeah, this line is really famous around some of my friend circle because they do the generative medicine, and uh, 2 years before they invited me to be their consultant to help them promote their generative medicine like stem cell, like the umbilical cell, which can be used in our body to inject in our body to make our feel
Okay.
rejuvenated. Yeah. This
Thank you.
is so much fun
Okay. Thank you,
for me
Ginger.
to talk about.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Dwight,
thank you.
let me add a perspective.
Yes.
I'm 74 years old, and I invest in different things, including healthcare and so forth. So I'm very attuned to what's being done. But here I am, my wife and I, we were both overweight. And if you had said 5 years ago that there would be some kind of medicine or injection or something where it would be easy to lose 80 pounds of weight in a year's time, I would have said, no, it can't happen. It can't happen. But the GLP-1s, and I know they're controversial and you may not like them, but my wife and I went on it. We each lost 80 pounds, and it took our longevity from 13 years to about 17 years under normal circumstances. So that took me up to age 91.
Mm.
And I'm just saying that with now the AI that's being accelerated and how that's being used to accelerate testing of different medications, supplements, whatever, I'm very optimistic that there will be an acceleration of advances. And there's always been advances. I you know, all the naysayers who said, population explosion, population bomb, we're all going to starve, not enough food, and so forth, they've all been proven wrong.
Yep. Yep.
And I
Yep.
think this will continue. So I'm very
Oh,
optimistic.
that is so right on, Frank. Thank you. Dorothy, did you want to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's just I want to say I keep losing my charge, so I just want you to know that if I leave, my charge is gone. But
Okay.
if I could just real quick while I'm on, my mom's 98 and she makes it look easy. Okay. And two of I'll tell you what, she's just like, she's amazing. She's healthy. We just moved her into a new facility. She's right away kicking. She's given me the best coaching of my whole life, like that. And then two of my nephews are working on 3D printing of body and organs and stuff like that. They're actually in the research. So,
Wow.
it's not that far out that we're going to be able to replace all of our body parts.
Mhm.
And so, the question is not going to be about our body. The research is going to be, people discovering we're not our bodies, I
Mhm.
think is the direction it'll go in the future. Okay.
Okay.
Like
Thank you,
who we
Paula.
are is something way different than the body. And I'll be quiet now. Thank you,
Okay.
Dorothy.
Thank you, Paula. Dorothy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. My mother came from Warsaw, Poland, and the happy birthday song is Stolat, which means 100 years, 100 years. So whenever we had a birthday, that was sung, and and she was concerned about eating properly, and so we kind of got. But the thing that happened with me is I put on a lot of weight gradually, um, to 287.5 pounds.
Wow.
Okay. And I was diagnosed with diabetes, and I was at 75. years of age, and I decided then and there I would stop eating sugar because I did like my sugar, and I lost in 15 years. I lost 150 pounds,
Wow.
151, and so I actually went down to 141 at one point.
Okay.
So as far as eating, I feel much better eating a healthy food rather than eating the things that taste good but feel yucky afterwards.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Thank you, Dorothy. That is so great. Let's continue because we got a lot, and then we'll have more time at the end. Okay. Um, so want to share some. There's a video that I just watched on YouTube that it's that it's called. Wait, I need to share the screen just a second here. I forgot to share the screen again. So it's called. This is on my. I posted this on my website. Okay, although it links to YouTube, so the people in China might have trouble with it if they don't have a VPN. But it's called. This is by the Royal Institution. This is a talk, very professional talk done at the Royal Institute in Britain, and this woman is a scientist, and she's got a 53-minute talk about can we control aging. Decoding aging, and it doesn't give you any specific necessary things you can do now, but it really shows that we're on the edge. I mean, she's reporting on some very fundamental scientific possible breakthroughs that are right around the corner that she's herself got her boots on the ground and actually doing it. Okay, so that happens to be on my website, or you can go to YouTube, and if you probably search for that, you'd find it. Okay, so that's the first thing. The next thing I want to share is my own. I talked about enjoying the process, right? So. Because if you don't enjoy this stuff, if you don't enjoy your eating, but now I'm not saying you would necessarily enjoy this, okay? But okay, but I got my kitchen stocked. This is an important thing about your environment, I mean, sure, sometimes I get those cravings, and if I had ice cream in the freezer, I would eat it. I'm sorry, I just don't have enough willpower to not eat that ice cream in the refrigerator.
Right.
But guess what? I don't put ice cream in my refrigerator. I've got frozen blueberries in my refrigerator, in my freezer. Okay, So I want something sweet. Guess what? I take out those frozen blueberries. I take out some frozen raspberries you see there, and I put them on the microwave about a minute or so to get them a bit thawed. I sprinkle some powdered stevia. I've got a sweet tooth. Okay, and so and stevia tastes sweet enough to me, and it's no calorie and it's natural. I don't know of any scientific studies like with some of the other things that show that these artificial sweeteners can be damaging to you. And then I put the unsweetened soy milk on it. Put that in. Wow, I think I probably, if I had a choice, even if there was ice cream there, I'd probably choose this one. Okay. Just if I didn't even have to worry about the health part, okay? And then over here, by the way, I mean, most of you know I'm Whole Foods vegan, okay? And I have good. We can another time if you want to discuss it. I have pretty good reason to believe that's the best. The best. Wait, hey, somebody needs to put themselves on mute. I'm hearing. Here in this dish, I mix up about 10. I've got like a mixture of like 10 dried beans, whatever, and then I've soaked them for 2 hours. Then I throw them in my Instant Pot pressure cooker. 30 minutes later, they're perfectly cooked. And I always keep these batch of pre-cooked. Just a second. Let me see who this and see if I can put them on mute.
That's Henry Pan.
Okay, so okay.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you. And so I always have others in the fridge. Also, black rice. Black rice is the healthiest grain you can eat, and I've got that, and I have that pre-cooked. So I have some black rice in there too. And then out of my freezer, I had some string beans. You can see the frozen string beans in there. I did put a little bit of corn in there. Potatoes used to be my comfort food. There's a little bit of potato in there, just white potato, but pre-cooked. But it's the unhealthiest ingredient inside there, except for perhaps spices, because I do allow myself a little leeway on the spices that I put. There's some hot sauce in there, and sort of like a teriyaki type of sauce that has a little bit of a sweetener in there, and then I heat that up and I mix it up, and that is so delicious to me. Okay, and so filling. Okay, and then I got my e-reader, so I'm usually reading while I'm eating too. So that's important there. Okay, and then I just wanted to show. I have this powdered stevia, but I was having trouble getting just the right amount because it's very strong, in terms of sweetener. You can have too much, so I actually got like a salt shaker, and I put the powdered stevia in it, so it's easy to just sprinkle just the right amount on something when I want to sweeten it. Okay, again, making it convenient and easy to eat this healthy way, your environment, and then I want to talk about what I've discovered for me. Frank, and I totally understand, and it makes total sense to him with him, why he's gone the GL1 route. And by the way, I did research the GL1, and one of the great things about GL1, it seems to be healthy for a lot of other reasons, not just losing weight, like it has other health benefits. And by the way, in that RI Institute thing, even though the lady acknowledged there was some possible downsides to the GL1 drugs, there's a lot of benefits even outside of the weight loss, okay? But I've discovered a way relatively recently that works for me. I call it the coffee diet. And I've found that if I eat pretty much 2 meals a day, I can lose weight or I can maintain my weight, okay? And so I get up at 2 a.m., as a lot of you know, and so I get my cup of coffee, and every 2 to 3 hours I have another cup of coffee, and I can cut my hunger. It will cut my hunger as long as I keep having it, and until I usually have my first meal around 10:30 a.m. Okay, and then since I go to bed around 6 p.m., I usually have my last meal around 4:30 or 5 p.m. Okay, which is I'm not hungry again till then. Since I had my first meal at like 10:30, 11 p.m. And if I need a little snack of fruit, something like that, but that way I'm able. So this coffee diet just works perfectly for me, and so that's that part. And so now let's talk about. So we take. This is the why, like the why to live. Why would you want to? We got to enjoy our life. We got to, oh my God, wouldn't it be great if I could have another day of living the way I live, And so, this is, by the way, I'm getting into my own individual situation. You got to listen to what turns you on. But I'm very happy by myself, but I really like women, and when I can have a girlfriend in my life, God, that makes a difference. Especially I have to admit it, a younger girlfriend. Okay, so I'm very lucky now. 3.5 months, I can say I have an amazing girlfriend. Her name is Hannah. She's learning English, but we're using we're actually using ChatGPT to translate for us, and does a pretty good job, in voice. But she sent me this video of herself. She climbed up in a guava tree, and this video just so captures that innocence and that joy that just makes me so inspired to be with her, And it's a short video. I'll just share that with you. So, a friend, I think I took this. I think what I have to do is refresh this, or it's not gonna play.
No, em ra rồi. Còn chơi còn nữa.
So she starts to come down, but then she sees some more guava to pick, so she goes back up.
Tụi xuống quay tùy tục luôn chứ. Rồi xuống.
Okay, so now the next thing is that one of the things that I don't know if you know about HIIT. It's called high intensity interval training, and I'm going to take this off screen share for a moment. And these are backed up by clinical by studies. Okay, the standard way of exercising, recommendation for exercising is 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, moderately intense exercise, and you can stay in good shape. Okay. But they did a study where they had one group of people, another group of people, randomly selected, and they were measured their health level. They weren't in such good health in terms of like all the measurements you can do. And then they put the first group of people on the standard exercise program, 30 minutes a day, 100, totally of 150 minutes a week. Then they put the others on what's called high intensity. And on that one, you do something that's super high intensity, like 20 seconds, totally full out. Only certain types of exercises you can do that, okay? Like maybe a stationary bicycle, okay? And then you stop and you rest. And then you go back and you do it another 20 seconds, and you stop and you rest, and you go back in another 20 seconds. So you do it 3 times for 1 minute for the day, okay? And you do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it's 3 minutes a week, if you will, that you're exercising. And so they had the 2 groups, and then after 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever, they stopped. They measured the fitness level of the 2 groups, and they found that they were roughly equal. Okay? Okay. So some people really love those 150 minutes a week. That's great, okay? And maybe I could even get into loving it. I don't know. But it took me a bit I did use a stationary bicycle for a while, but I didn't, somehow I wanted to find something new. So I found there's something if I just have weights in my hand, I chose 3 kilograms weight, and I go as fast as I can like this for 20 seconds. I mean, I tell you what, 20 seconds. I really want to stop it after that. But yeah. I'll just show you a 7-second clip of this, okay? And where are we here? Okay.
Hi. Where are your water bottles? Second floor.
So what kind are you looking for? Like a Yeti or like?
I want.
Oh, just something like that.
Please turn your audio off.
This, not the shorter one. This one, 16 ounces. It says 15. It says 16, and then there's a little more.
Let me see.
So either
Just a
Trying to think
second.
here. So I know there's a big
See if it,
section of water
get
bottles
that,
like right in the
get
middle,
that
right
up.
over here, but I think it's bigger ones. So then we might have the smaller ones
Let
for
me
like
see.
I
biking
think you
over in
can
that
mute
left corner.
everybody yourself.
You still have-
Hello, hello. Can you
Okay,
please turn your audio off? Thank you. Can you turn your audio off, please?
Like I know, like you think.
Hey,
I
Dwight,
don't know
it's
who that
Michael.
is.
You can go to the participants and mute him.
Well, I'm trying to find out who it is, though.
You could see his microphone will be oscillating.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So I think it's stopped for now. All right. So let's go. The next thing is all right. Tiny tomorrows. You know, having. Let me see. I think I had an image for this. Just a second. Where are we here? Okay. Okay. I read a lot of books in my life that talk about put that thing out in front of you that you're really going for. That that creates excitement in your life today, but the way they talked about it was like a year out or 2 years out. I could never get excited about those things. Yeah, I want to have my direction right, but I so I can if I have something today or a week out or as much as 2 or 3 months out, but 3 months is about the max, in terms of like a goal or some sort of result or some sort of event I'm going to go to, that really gives me juice and jazz. So I call these tiny tomorrows, that every day you've got those things in terms of appointments or meetings or things you're looking forward. And if you're not looking forward to them, that's the number one thing you need to do is find a way to look forward to all this stuff in your life. Don't, as much as possible, don't put anything out in front of you that when you think about it, anticipate it, and when you get to that point, you're not going to be happy to do, this as much as possible, we want to stay away from that idea of no pain, no gain, and so that we're really loving what we're looking for. So having those things that you're looking forward to, that not only do you get those results that can be helpful, but it gives juice. I mean, we human beings, we're designed to care about the future. My cat is not designed that way. She's able to be happy without somehow she still survives without how. But we humans, that's our design. Sure, we need to be happy now and enjoy now, but we also to have that sense of aliveness, we need to have those futures, that they're excited about, we're looking forward to, So to keep putting those in your life, like right now. I've got I've got things every day I'm looking forward to, like I'm super looking forward to today with you guys, okay? Very exciting. But also out next month, December 20th, I'm flying to Manila, Philippines, okay? I'm gonna be there 9 days, okay? And to make it even more interesting, I'm not going to stop my clients because I love talking with my clients. So I start with them early in the morning. I'll have my Wi-Fi. I can do everything there in the hotel room, And so, but my clients finish up by 10 a.m. Okay, and now I'm putting an ad out for some young Filipino women to like maybe college students to be my assistants in the afternoon. They meet me at my hotel at 10 a.m. And then they go with me around wherever. I can pay them. I think they'll be happy with $3.50 an hour. And then I talk with English and say, I want to go. What do you suggest? Or why don't we go do this or whatever? And I'll probably have 2 or 3 of those. So I'm so jazzed about this holiday that's coming up, And so those futures that you put out in front of you like that, those are very important.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, let me share another thing. This is something I discovered recently. Just another all these little things, they add up. But sleep, getting good sleep is incredibly important in terms of how we feel and our health and everything else, right? So, how to move this? Okay. So I'd read about something called. Okay, so this is Ken Lee.
You say you're busy?
Wait. A weighted blanket, okay? Okay, so this is Ken Lee, and she's. So this is, I'm just sort of demonstrating this weighted blanket, okay? I don't know what they put in it, but it's pretty heavy. I mean, if it's not over me, I have to use a little effort to get it over me, when I'm getting into bed. But that sense of weight on the body, I don't know, it gives a sense of comfort or whatever else. And at the same time, it does make it warmer. And it's really good to sort of sleep in a more cool room. So I do use the air conditioner to get it down to a certain point. I'll just go ahead and play this. It's not very long. How heavy is that, Kinley?
It's really heavy. I have the blankets, but it's not heavy than this.
Yeah. So this is called a weighted blanket, and there's been some research that shows it really helps sleeping, and I think I can feel it when I put it over myself at night, but I have to turn the air conditioning on because it gets too warm. But actually that's good because it shows that it's actually better to sleep in a colder room. So thank you, Kenley. Okay, but I want to go back now. We're talking about loving our life and the journey of our life. So, I talk with people, prioritize the process over any given results. Okay, and part of that, I think, for most of us, is what I call being leisurely busy. I ask people, "Hey, can you do this?" And they say, "Oh, I'm too busy. I'm too busy." They're busy. And it's not like the type of busyness they like, I mean, so there's something I call leisurely busy, and I created a video about it and some lyrics, so I want to share that with you. Looks like I'm going to have to refresh again. What?
You say you're busy, rushing through, but deep inside you know it's true. You filled your days beyond the brim and wonder why your joy feels dim.
You've overpromised, overplayed. Ignore the toll that must be paid. You lie and say we'll soon be clear, yet drag the same load year to year.
There's always more, another task, but rarely do you stop to ask, is this the life I'm meant to build, or just a void I've overfilled?
Let's go slow, let us see, let the process carry thee.
Live your life a new design, hour by hour, and make it thine. You say next time, you say not now, and where you're busy like a vow. But who are you when you refuse to stop and notice how you lose?
You could say no,
redraw the line,
reclaim your life
with all aligned,
but you keep proving you can cope,
which only proves you are a dope.
You tell myself,
just push on through,
hope and joy will be your due.
but sacrificing joy for now, your happiness you disavow.
Let's go slow, let us see, let the process carry thee.
Live your life a new design, hour by hour, and make it thine. To care for self,
Do not delay,
start right now,
the only way.
undo the guilt,
The dry to please,
and find your pace in life, soft breeze.
not busy, no,
Not anymore,
but leisurely.
with space and more. For now you know what's truly true, a joyful journey is your due.
Okay. All right. Um, One last thing, I'm going to go really fast through this, and some of you may want to, get ask more about it. But I think I may be able to count a breakthrough that I had about a week and a half ago as a fundamental breakthrough of my life, and the name I'm calling this is. Uh, Strider and Frisia into the Cold War. Okay? And let me explain a little bit. I've done very well in terms of my now and next enjoying stuff together, but there's been in certain things in my life, it's like, okay, by the way, Mr. Strider, that's a part of me that wants structure, planning, goals, results. That's his job is the future. Okay. Frisia, she wants freedom. She wants spontaneity. She just wants to do what she wants to do. Okay, and she's about taking care of now. Okay, well, sometimes they're not very happy together. Okay, maybe Frisia will get her way, but Strider, even though Strider may not even may be able to sort of let go of blaming her, but still, he's unhappy there in the background. And guess what? When Strider's not happy, then Frisia can't be totally happy, even if she's doing what she wants to do. Okay? And then Strider, sometimes he just, okay, oh, this is so exciting. Okay, I need some more. I want to do more and more things. I'm going to take some of that time away from Frisia, Okay? At Strider guy, he can be, he doesn't know when to quit, So both of them have, they go back and forth. They go back and forth. And this, in some ways, even though I've solved a lot of this, it's been the story for all my life. And I think most of you can relate to this. Okay. And so it's like, I've been talking about this with my assistants and everything for a long time, trying to find a solution to this fundamental problem. Well, I think it happened a week ago today, last Sunday. Okay, I was talking to my assistant Mia. I said, I just want to just have you listen, and I looked at two former breakthroughs I had in my life, and one involved a certain urgency, but like it was really urgent. Like if I didn't handle this, I could be even damaging my health. And that really got me thinking about it. Now I realized, well, I can't say this is urgent to get my Strider and Frisia on the same page. But long term, it is urgent. In terms of my happiness and actually maybe even being able to do some things. I mean, I'm really pretty good, but I could be more consistent in certain ways and stuff that's going to support my longevity and health and everything. But then another area, this is when I was going back and forth about whether to separate from my second wife. And I could go back this way. I mean, I just couldn't get a clear decision. And finally, I asked myself a question that once I asked the question and answered it, the decision was obvious. And the question I asked myself, okay, look, I've been with her 5 years. She's tried, I've tried. We've gone to counselors, we've done a lot of stuff. She's changed some, I've changed some. But still, I'm not really happy and she's not really happy, and I'm unhappy that she's happy and unhappy, and she's probably the other way too, So, and sure, possibly there could be a breakthrough, whatever. But but there's a fair good, the best, not always, but the best way to predict the future is look at the past, And so what if this continued? I mean, yeah, better sometimes, worse, but what if this continued for the rest of my life? That's one life I could have. The other life is I separate, get our money separate, get divorced. That's another path. Okay, now that's much less predictable. Okay, that's a whole new life. That's a whole new environment. When you're not living with somebody and you don't have to work with them on everything. And so, and I'd lived by myself before. I know there's no problem with that, you know. Uh, but, but when I saw that life and I considered what that life could be, no brainer, you know. Of course, you know, from that moment, I was no longer married. I mean, yes, I had a lot of stuff to do to get, and my wife didn't know yet that they were no longer married. But in my mind, it's complete. It was complete. It wasn't finished, but it was complete. Okay, from that moment. Okay, and then I just committed myself to have a great divorce. Okay, so I looked at that. How did I solve that? So I brought that back to my current issue about this. Okay, here is now, unlike with my wife, we could separate. Strider and Frisia cannot separate. You know, they're in me. There's always we all have the Strider part, you know, which I call the next part, and we all have the Frisia part. And they both are trying to do good things for us, you know. But they go at loggerheads, you know, and sometimes Frisia is dominating and back and forth. So I pretty much know what that if that continues, what that's going to be like, right? And then I pretty much know, like I have pretty good sense. Well, what if they could? Sure, Strider's going to have to compromise. Frisia is going to have to compromise to come to some sort of stuff, so they're not like keep like this one dominates that one, then not dominates that one. You know that hey, we're you know sure we got different intentions. It's like the finance department and the sales department in a company. Sometimes they're going head to head, but they both serve the company. You know, sure they're going to have different intentions, different things that they are trying to maximize, but work together, guys. You know, well, same idea with Strider and Frisia. So I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like, but it's obvious. That's the future I want. You know, I don't, you know, I can, I've lived the other way. I know how it is, you know, and I'm already happy, but that's just going to really add to it. And so it become obvious then. So it's just like so no brainer, you know. Of course, the how-tos is another question. Because just like when I decided to get divorced, there was a lot of how-tos I didn't even know yet, you know, that had to be figured out. So, of course, this is not getting divorced, but it's like actually the opposite of like tearing down that fence where on this side is Strider's domain and that side's, and then Frisia keeps going into Strider's domain and Strider pushes back into, you know, to actually tear down that fence. And I thought, what's the best analogy of this? I said, oh my God, the fall of the Berlin Wall. I said, you know, with the fall of the Berlin Wall, I said, you know, and then Germany became integrated again. And that was the beginning of the fall of the whole Soviet Empire, where the countries like Estonia and many others just, you know, essentially had their freedom, you know, before. And so that was the integration and people. So it's like I said, oh, that's a good. And then I was just curious. I wonder when the Berlin Wall fell. You know, I knew it was somehow time in the 1980s. So I looked it up online. It fell on November 9th, 1989. Well, guess what? Last Sunday was November 9th.
Yep.
Just happened to. I don't think my unconscious knew that, but it's a nice coincidence, right? So that's it. So, but having that, it's like, and of course, you may ask, well, how does this relate to what we're talking about today? It's like more loving the journey and also more having the power. It's not only a loving journey, but right now, I'll show you one thing that came out of this almost immediately. I'm going to share the screen with you again. Is the next day, there's these covenants that I had, sort of things that I sort of said I want to do every day, you know, and here it is. So these covenants, and so certain things for whatever I consider that I have currently here. There's 26 on this particular list, okay, on the left, and some of them are very little small, but it's like I've got plenty of time to do these. There's no reason I can't do them. And some of them are, in terms of like, well, here's HIIT, high intensity exercise. Of course, I only do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. So, and then there's rebounding for 10 times for a minimum 5 minute times each day. Okay. I mean, those are, and various other things. And when before, I mean, maybe I'd do several of these, but Frisia would just get a move. I want to do this. I want to do this. So it's like she wouldn't, like, imagine a baby. You put them in their playpen, they can have complete freedom. But if somehow that baby had the power, says, I'm not going to, you can't, I'm going to have, I'm going to do anything I want anywhere. I'll knock down everything, So part of this agreement is, yes, she's going to get plenty of attention. She's going to be, hey, when I go to Philippines, she's going to be primarily in charge when I go to Philippines for 9 days, okay? And she gets time every day, and she gets to say how we do things. But we're going to do this stuff. It doesn't matter, Freezy, if you just don't feel like it anymore. And I end up feeling like it, because now we're playing this game, and so like today I've already started here Sunday, you see, and so I've got 20. By the time I finish today, I'll have all 25 of these done. Okay, and it automatically counts for me when I put things in here, how many I do for the day. So and so it's a game, it's a structure, and so that was the most immediate thing that I was able to put in place. Just the very next day, you can see the first day was Monday. That's the day after last Sunday. Okay, and then all I have to do, I just duplicate this and make it empty for the next day. And it doesn't mean these things don't change. They do change, but it's in agreement together. That happens. Okay, so I know we're officially overtime. I don't have a problem. So it's just if you do find, but we can stay longer. I'd like to get feedback, questions, whatever. And thank you for your listening. Who'd like to speak first? Frank.
Well, just want to say what I've learned from Dwight over the years, the most important thing is to enjoy the process. Figure out whatever you figure your strategy is, enjoy the process.
Yeah. And I would say that is the most fundamental problem of humanity. This idea of we sacrifice now for the future. Hey, you don't want to do it the other way either,
Yeah.
But so to prioritize, yes. So when Strider makes a goal, his first job after is to find out how we're going to enjoy the process. Yeah. Thank you, Frank.
Yep.
Okay. Who's next? Questions,
Yeah,
comments? Yes, Ginger.
Just now you mentioned the HIIT exercise. Well, I have a little something to say, because HIIT, the exercise is a little intense, maybe for each of your people. So as a yoga teacher by now, yeah, we haven't talked about my job for a long time. I've been through a lot because now I practice Pilates and yoga for its intensity is not that much. So
Sure.
I really recommend you. Yeah, since Pilates is created in a century before.
I think she's saying Pilates, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Pilates.
Okay.
Yeah, people lie on the core machine, and they slide forward and backward, and to keep their organs remain their positions,
Yes.
and to use your body, use your limbs to practice while
Yes.
keep your core tight. So this one is really safe. Yeah, it's really safe. And in the beginning, yeah, it is created for people who get wounded in the Second World War. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's also a sport I recommend. Yeah.
You bring up a very important point. I'm not when I'm talk about HIIT, it's not necessarily at the exclusion of the benefits of other types of exercise. Okay, but it's just but there's these certain basic benefits that, like in terms of general cardiovascular health, that exercise gives that they're being able to prove for those basic benefits, the HIIT will work. Okay. Um, and and yes, you have to be. You don't want to do anything that's going to be damaging, And so, but for me, I can do that. I can do it intense for 20 seconds, and I'm fine, Uh,
Yeah.
so
And please, if you do HIIT, remember to get yourself in a stable movement. Always.
yes. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
steady.
Sure.
Keep it
Steady,
steady. And no
steady.
shaking.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
yeah,
Thank you.
that's a
Thank
good
you,
want to
Ginger.
share.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really care about you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, yeah, and there's other things that could do lend themselves to HIIT, possibly swimming for super, or possibly exercise bike. But some types of things it's very difficult to do full out because you have to. But it has to be a special type of exercise and also low impact. You can't have because there's dangers in doing something that's very high impact. So that's why the exercise bike with a resistance can be good, or what I do. Okay, thank you. Who's next?
Yeah, Dwight, I had a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Your list of ideas of things you are doing for your well-being and health and longevity had me start thinking about all the things that I do or things that I could do as well. And I thought with the whole group in here that possibly we could maybe write out and send to you some of the key things that we do, and you could compile it and send everybody those points so that we could kind of get to know each other and get some ideas for health.
Well, in response to that, Bill, a really good idea. I'd be happy to receive that. How much, I'm not going to decide now how much I'm willing to compile and share it, but I'm
Why
happy to
not just
receive
share
it.
it now?
Well, because right now we're limited in time. Okay, I mean I want to finish this up in the next 5-10 minutes. So, but yeah, so but great idea, Bill, and I welcome any of that. Yes, and since you all have direct contact with me, please, and I will consider it the best way possibly to share it with others. So, thank you, Bill. Who any other question in terms of what you got out of today? Question like what's the most valuable thing you got from today, um, and or suggestions or questions? Okay, so this video I've made a video of this. I I'm gonna intend to post it on my website. So you can re-listen to it. You can tell your friends about it. It will be actually first go on YouTube. So Chinese people might have trouble accessing that because it's accessed on my website through YouTube. Okay, but so you might need a VPN to access it, but everybody else should be able to access that. And also, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna say I had a transcript going. Okay, so I'm gonna save the transcript right down. So I'll be able to actually have that. I may include it actually in the same place on my website, the transcript and the video together. So that will be available. And these will now be regular. This is part of what I can say with the new agreement between Mr. Strider in Frisia, I can pretty confidently say, take that pretty out of there. I can confidently say that I'm going to do this. I mean, other things could, the second Sunday of the month, or the Saturday before that for the USA people, okay? Which is normally the second Saturday, but it's possible that it's not the second Saturday. And so please look forward to that. Join us then, and tell your friends and invite them. And I'm so grateful that you all joined me. And see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Dwight,
Yes.